When my father said the words that would change everything, the room didn't erupt with shock the way one might expect. Instead, it fell into a kind of practiced silence, the kind that had shaped my entire life. "You're suspended until you apologize to your sister." He said it slowly, like a teacher disciplining a careless student, not a grown adult who had kept the company afloat for years. My sister sat beside him, her expression a delicate performance of innocence with just enough sadness to make the room lean in her favor. Even from across the table, I could see the edges of a smile tugging at her lips, a small victory she believed she had won. I searched my father's face for something that resembled fairness, but all I saw was certainty. Certainty that I would bend like I always had. Every eye in the conference room drifted away from me, the way people avoid involvement when they already know which direction loyalty expects them to lean. For a moment, I expected an instinctive defense to rise in my chest, something loud, reactive, demanding justice. But nothing came. All that surfaced was a calm clarity, shaped from years of being overshadowed, underestimated, and told to fix problems I didn't create. "All right," I finally said. That single word left my mouth like a seal closing on an era. No one realized that my agreement wasn't an admission of guilt. It was a withdrawal of permission, a quiet line being drawn, a final acceptance that some systems do not need repair, they need exit. My childhood had trained me well for moments like this, moments where silence doubled as expectation. Our home revolved around my sister's storms and sparkles. When she succeeded, celebration stretched until dawn. When she failed, sympathy flowed like a family duty. I was the constant background, steady, reliable, invisible unless something needed fixing. My achievements were tidy, quiet, free of drama, and therefore unworthy of the spotlight the family reserved for theatrics. I learned early that in a house fueled by noise, the quiet child was never truly seen. Working at the family company only deepened those old patterns. My sister drifted between roles she barely understood while I built structure behind her chaos. Budgets, clients, operations, everything ran through my hands, often without credit. Yet when something slipped through her careless fingers, the blame slid toward me as easily as a signature on paper. Still I stayed, out of duty, hope, and the fragile belief that someday they might notice the difference between reliability and convenience. But the day he suspended me, something ancient inside me shifted. The years of swallowing unfairness settled into a final understanding. I had allowed them to treat my competence as a cushion for her consequences. So I acted, not out of revenge but self-preservation. I gathered documents, timelines, discrepancies, everything she had gambled with because she assumed I'd always cover the losses. When I sent the full report to the leadership team and partners, my hands didn't shake. Truth delivered in precision has its own kind of stillness. And for the first time, the imbalance no longer felt like my burden to carry. Returning to the office the next morning felt like stepping into a story I no longer belonged to. The hallway seemed unfamiliar, as if the building itself sensed that my connection to it had already faded. My sister stood outside the boardroom, trying to glue together whatever facade she thought could undo the evidence now circulating through the company. Her eyes darted toward me with a mix of fear and confusion, emotions she wasn't used to feeling without someone rushing to comfort her. I walked past her without pause. Inside the meeting room, the air was thick with tension. My father's face held the stunned stillness of a man who finally realized that the foundation he trusted had never been his daughter's loyalty. It had been her labor. I placed my resignation letter on the table with a calmness that felt almost ceremonial. My father opened his mouth, perhaps to command, perhaps to plead, but the company lawyer cut in gently, explaining that everything I had done, every file, every message, every disclosure, was within policy. My father's authority cracked in that moment, not because I defied him, but because I no longer needed his approval to make a choice about my life. My sister stumbled over apologies that didn't sound like remorse, only fear of consequences landing where they belonged. I didn't stay to hear the rest. I walked out of the building, and into a morning that felt lighter than any victory they could offer. Choosing myself wasn't the loud rebellion they expected. It was quiet, steady, and final. The kind of ending that doesn't require revenge to feel complete.